Hi, I'm Kurt Smith, and welcome to Salesforce Live at Dreamforce. We're here today to talk about Salesforce and healthcare and life sciences. I'm joined with Mike and Ronan from Deloitte Digital. Welcome, guys.
Thanks very much. Glad to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your roles and Deloitte Digital.
So in terms, I'm a partner in the life sciences practice, so spend my time in the life sciences industry, particularly pharma. Working in the technology space, which is where I came across Salesforce. And Mike?
Yeah, so I actually work in our Salesforce practice, based out of London myself, and so very familiar with Dreamforce, the Salesforce ecosystem, but I actually specialize then in the pharmaceutical life sciences industry and how we apply Salesforce into that space.
Fantastic. And what about Deloitte Digital?
So that's our digital practice, the Deloitte digital practice. It's a separate entity from, or separated out from Deloitte as a brand. So very cool, all of the agency type of things you'd expect to see.
Yeah.
And of course, technical capability, wall-to-wall technical capability, which really distinguishes us and back-ended into our core practice, if you like. So the depth of skill there too.
So last year, Salesforce announced Health Cloud, and it was really about the core of it was really breaking down those traditional barriers between patients and healthcare providers in a social mobile world. So, and with connected devices and IoT now, and all the monitoring devices and our clothes and everything else that we hear about, to really help get all that data into one place. What is Deloitte Digital building? How is that different than the Health Cloud?
So we're moving into the research and development space. I was privileged to attend a talk from the Parker Institute earlier around immuno-oncology, and that's really taking off a lot of these specialized medications. And Salesforce is known for its CRM capability, and as a platform, what we're trying to do is link our R&D folks into the power of Salesforce in terms of the relationships that they're forming outside of their organization, which of course helps with them, research and bring medicines to market faster.
And how does that happen? How do you bring medicines faster?
Good. Yeah, I mean, getting a medicine to market is quite an ordeal, right?
It is, right?
Yeah.
You have all the regulations, all the trials, all the R&D, all of that to get it done.
Absolutely. So, in terms of the process itself, when you're talking about blockbuster medications, the process, you can have a lot of overhead in the process and not notice it. But when you're talking about specialty medications that typically cost a lot of money, you have a whole bunch of hurdles that you're presented with. So the first is an efficiency one. So you don't want administrative processes to hold up research and development activity. So you want to strip those out and make them as light as you possibly can. The second thing is relationships with your investigators and all the scientists. Fostering a community where you can have real, quality information exchange. You need to remove the frictions out of that. And last but not least, once you get a medicine approved and to market, you need the evidence to get paid for it, to get reimbursed. So you need that type of, you need to collect that data. And as organizations or pharma organizations particularly, need to move more and more into the healthcare pathway, to become more providers of care as opposed to providers of drugs. All of these relationships are really, really important. And Force provided a platform on which you can build a lot of these things out.
Were all of these different different silos? Are they talking to different people, or are they talking to, at the end of the day, the same client or the same customer?
Yeah, well, it's the same. That's the thing. It's the same. Patients. We have many roles in society. We might be a physician. We might be an investigator. We might be a carer. We might even be a patient. And in fact, we all are patients at some time in our lives, right? So when you look at the pharma development pathway, you realize that there's a lot of touch points along the way. And it is with the same people wearing different hats. So having a platform approach to this and joining it up, and which is our, if you like, digital hypothesis, connecting along the pharma pathway, you can drive out a lot of value out of that.
And did you guys see a change or a shift that made it all of a sudden to go after this and to say, like, we're going to help facilitate the way that medicines are approved quicker and we get them out to the market quicker?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're a very client-focused organization, and this has been one of the a big challenge of a lot of our clients, right? In the sense of research and development costs are continually increasing. So your return on investment in research and development declines, right? Because it takes longer, it costs more money, and of course you want everything to be safe. So you want to make sure you've tested everything really properly. So anything that you can do to lower that cost and then serve unmet needs and market needs where the incidence of the condition is rare. You've got to find and connect with those people. They're not readily available, both from the point of view of when you want to start your research, but also in terms of accessing them in terms of patients. You also need to help physicians in the sense of, if you're seeing only maybe one patient as opposed to 20 or 30 in your practice, you need to share information amongst other physicians and connect. So anything that drives that connection amongst people to get to a common outcome speeds up the whole process and can reduce costs and brings medicines to market sooner.
Just to add to that as well, one of the things we've seen is Salesforce particularly has been really strong and in the commercial pharma spaces. And we've kind of looked at that and said, how can we leverage the benefits and all the good things that have been done there to date and move that into an R&D space as well, so that clients are leveraging technology they're already familiar with, they've already got in-house, they're leveraging the power of Force.com platform as well to really join up the complete life cycle.
Fantastic. So if I'm using the Health Cloud now, how does the Deloitte solution, what's different and what's complementary?
So we've got a number of solutions. One is a product called Patient Connect, which is kind of an extension of Health Cloud, kind of taking it to the next level. And that's a great way of connecting with your patients in a real world kind of way, using a lot of marketing capabilities as well as kind of the CRM strengths. We also do a number, particularly in the R&D space, a number of other applications that we've been developing. A lot of that is thought leadership as well, around how do we transform that space into a place that's actually can be delivered faster with the transparency, with all of the details that we need to make it comply with regulations as well, I should say.
And what about the complexities, speaking of regulations, between country to region to region? How does that come into play?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a major challenge in the life sciences industry is the complexity. But in terms of the regulators, they do adopt a common approach. There's only 4 major regulatory bodies globally, so if you can align with those, that helps. And also, they all operate to common standards in many respects in terms of efficacy and safety. So, being able to provide the granular amount of information that they're now looking for in terms of interactions and engagements is, of course, really helpful from a compliance point of view too. And engaging over being able to engage with external parties and external communities, the boundaries of these organizations have become a lot less fast, hard and fast. They're very porous. Particularly the new generation of researchers are not tied to organizations as much as they are tied to their research and or essentially working for a cause that are beyond organizational boundaries. So a platform that can facilitate that is obviously ideal.
Absolutely.
Just to add to that, one of the things we've done as well is in our approach to delivering these kind of solutions, we've actually worked in a lot of validated industry areas of this kind of space with compliance teams, so that we're building solutions and building them out that actually meet the requirements of regulators, so we can actually prove the technology is doing what it needs to do and have the audit trail and traceability there as well.
And why Salesforce? Why did you choose Salesforce to build this on?
Well, there was the platform, right, in the sense of connecting people across the development pathway. I mean, we did a piece of research around how many touch points there are with the same people across, and it's amazing. It really was amazing in terms of how many different touch points there are in an organization or a pharma organization that talk to, a physician, the family physician the one day, an investigator tomorrow, a key opinion leader the next day. All essentially the same people, the same, groups of people being physicians, patients, and of course, other members in the healthcare pathway, the payers and as well as the providers.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we, as I said earlier, a lot of commercial parts of the organization are already using Salesforce, so it made a lot of sense for them to look at that as a product or a platform that they could leverage again. With their experiences, they've used it earlier and they've learned how to get the best out of the platform. Obviously, Salesforce as a platform really helps them with dealing with the security concerns, data storage, all of the things that they get there. They get the benefits of mobile, capabilities for all the analytics that come out of the box, as well as extending that into Wave and some of the other products that are there available. So it really does give them a platform approach to delivering applications within their organization for the R&D space.
Yeah, fantastic. You mentioned the Jeff Bluestone this morning from the Parker Institute talking about immunotherapy. There's also I don't know if you stayed for the Zika panel after that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, it was really interesting to see just how fast the advances in healthcare and life sciences are going, and some of the really interesting of the barriers. You spoke about the barriers that are breaking down from just even the way research is done now, with multiple labs, multiple scientists and researchers all around the world in real time synthesizing the human genome, working on an Ebola, Zika, all of these things. It's really amazing. What other things have you seen at Dreamforce that have been kind of really exciting?
Well, I mean, for me, it's Einstein. It has a whole bunch of advantages. I mean, we've spoken about AI for quite a long time, right?
Yeah.
A long time. Making it real is of course another challenge, and and making it real at an accessible cost as well. Even in the applications, some of the applications that we're building. So if you were going to do a clinical trial, and you wanted to set up what is a very expensive piece of research that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to plan it as best you can. Predictive analytics can help you do that. So there's immediate applications for Einstein on some of the things that we're doing that'll really drive efficiency that are done manually today, offline, in very expensive ways, and also slow.
Absolutely. Mike?
Yeah, just to add to that, again, Einstein has been fantastic to see this year. I'm really excited to get my hands on that personally and get to try it out. And we've already been thinking about so many ways we can apply that into this space and really leverage AI in that place.
What? Give me some examples. What do you think?
So you could use it when you're looking at setting up the studies themselves. How could you leverage some of the data and the knowledge that you've had from previous studies to help you define what the study might look like, who the study might be who might be included in the study? So patient selection or site selection. There's limitless kind of possibilities there.
Yeah, even down to the basic stuff, like how do you, if you're going to do a study, you're going to contract with a whole bunch of people. How do you execute that or stay on top of that in a very efficient way? So one of the demos was around how do you close a sales deal, but in our world it would be how do I get as many study sites or my required number of study sites online within a time frame that allows me to actually deliver the results of my study. I mean, this could take a good couple of months, if not years, if not done well. So any intelligence that can be brought into that process is, of course, extremely valuable.
Amazing.
And just to add to that, another thing that's been really great this year is seeing how Lightning, which was announced last year, has really matured and enabling us to deliver applications to clients that really have a great user experience. They've got a really clean interface. Obviously, they're mobile ready as well as part of that. And one of the big drivers we're seeing in our clients is how they engage with their customers, their end users. And Lightning's been a really great way of providing a clean interface for them to do that.
Fantastic. So what else? Have you seen anything else at Dreamforce that's just kind of exciting, even outside the healthcare and life sciences?
Oh, well, I tell you, in terms of the event itself and how many people it attracts, and how diverse it is in terms of, demographics and gender and what have you, it's actually quite an amazing thing I've heard about it, but this is my first time that I've actually seen it firsthand. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a bit more of an old hat. I think this is my 5th time to Dreamforce, and I'm still completely blown away every year. It's like, how do you top the previous year? But it seems to happen. And what's really interesting this year is how it's evolved. It's changed from kind of I think as Parker said yesterday in the keynote speech, how it's evolved into more of a family. They're actually kind of, let's meet together as a family and look at how do we go forwards rather than just being led by Salesforce, so to speak. Obviously, the keynotes are great, and you two were fantastic last night. For those that like you two, can't
Even
complain.
if you don't, it was still fantastic.
They were really good. Yeah, definitely a standout band.
And do you have a chance to go down to the expo in the campground area and check out the Eli Lilly demo and everything? What was really interesting to me was the path, the pathway, the way that they weaved that whole story together from a patient standpoint. And you didn't really think about the technology, you just thought about the touch points and how that influenced you and your care.
Exactly, and what's really interesting about the Lilly study, which we were fortunate enough to, or Lilly which we were fortunate enough to be involved in, is that it's really bringing to a fore this whole idea of end user developer, right? In terms of the way that the speed at which they can turn things around, take ideas and make them reality really quickly without with a minimum amount of friction. So really, essentially getting let the scientists get on with the science.
Great. Hey, thanks, Ronan, very much. Sorry we got to go. Thanks.
Yeah,
Mike,
great.
thanks very
Thank you.
much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you the next time on Salesforce Live at Dreamforce.